What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from ActionMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today we are locked and loaded for Bad Boys: Ride or Die. This is now on Netflix. It has audio description, and for the blind fans out there, I have a purple hat on backwards, black sunglasses. I'm wearing Guardians of the Galaxy shirt, so I don't have a Bad Boy shirt. I don't even know if they make Bad Boy shirts. It's an old franchise, 4 films. You would think that. Anyway, so we are back. We got Mike Lowry. I always remember from Martin Lawrence just the way how he says Mike's name, played by Will Smith, and Marcus Burnett, which is Martin Lawrence's character, are back after the third film, you know, which probably had the better title for a fourth film. Bad Boys for Life feels like the fourth title. Like, if you think you're going to make a fourth film, I feel like the third film should be Ride or Die, and the fourth film should be Bad Boys for Life. It's so confusing now. So, they're a little bit older, a little bit wiser. Unfortunately, the death of their captain in the third film, spoiler if you haven't seen anything else in this franchise, but Joe Pantoliano carries over here and actually is the driving force for the plot, which is why I can't not mention it because it's literally what the film is about. So, in addition to our already sort of like series regulars, like people we're used to seeing in the franchise, we do also get, like, Vanessa Hudgens is here. Yeah, I'm not really sure why. DJ Khaled pops up. DJ Khaled. Rhea Seehorn was an interesting choice. I really liked her presence. She attacks everything with like a ferocity to her, and I love it. And Alexander Ludwig and Eric Dane, in addition to whoever played that boy. I can't remember the name of the actor who plays the son that Will Smith found out he had in the third film. That kid's back. So this movie follows our duo. They're getting a little bit older. They're headed off to like a wedding, and Marcus is, I don't know, he's at a point in his life where his health is not great, and he aggravates the situation. And they have another one of those situations where they're like in a convenience store. It's basically like the same scene that's happened in like every Bad Boys film, where they argue and then they end up like stopping a criminal by having this like couples therapy fight. And then they get to the wedding and Marcus has a heart attack, and then what the movie has decided to do is, for the rest of the film, he talks like he's a prophet, and like he can't die. It's so annoying. I liked this film a lot, but it was a lot. It was a little bit too much. It was too much. I couldn't take Martin Lawrence in this film. I couldn't take him seriously, and not in like the haha, this is funny way. Every time he would say something, I'd be like, God damn it. I felt like Will Smith. I felt like Mike was just, he didn't get to do enough of that. Enough like the fuck is your problem? You know? So in addition to this plot, which involves the fact that these bad guys, one of them is Eric Dane. I recognize the voice. I didn't recognize it and then be like, oh, Eric Dane. I recognized the voice. I was like, I know this voice. And then I IMDb'd it, and I was like, Eric Dane. I was right. So they're setting it up so that they want to make it look like the captain was dirty and was on the take, and basically somebody's like tying up the loose ends of the third film, and getting rid of the people that, eventually trying to tie it so that uh, our bad boys look like actual bad boys. So then they have to solve this problem, and the only person that they can really trust to help them is Will Smith's son, but he's in prison, so, or is he for this, um, eh, stuff happens. But I don't want to get too much into it. Rhea Seehorn plays Joe Pantoliano's daughter, who has it out for, who's mad at Mike and hates his son for killing her father. And she's sort of like on a one-track mind. I loved everything she was in, and I wish she had been in more of the film because I thought she was interesting. We do get like a requisite like Tiffany Haddish like pop up, like a "What's up? I'm Tiffany Haddish," like let's lighten the load. It made me really wish that the girls from LA's Finest had been in this. That instead of like a Tiffany Haddish scene, that we got Gabrielle Union and Jessica Alba in here. That they found a way to reincorporate them. It was a show. Gabrielle Union was in the franchise before, and then she spun off into a TV series, which ran 2 seasons and then got canceled. So she could have easily worked her way back into the franchise and brought Jessica Alba with her. I don't think it would have hurt this film at all. But when they're sort of operating as lone wolves, I think it would have been a great exploration of the franchise when to have run into them when they're like who else can we trust? And it's like, I know somebody, and then it's just like a nice callback instead of just being like, I don't know anybody. We know Tiffany Haddish as new character, like I don't know. I love Tiffany, but it's like this franchise does have other characters that you could call back. I would have loved a Téa Leoni drop, by the way. They have cameos like in here. There's a Michael Bay cameo in this, and there's also I looked it up because it's not pointed out, but I think some people will know his podcast. Jay Shetty he's in this. He's listed in the cast, and I looked through when I was looking for the cast. I was like, Jay Shetty is in this. Wow, that's a very specific casting. I guess I know what podcasts those guys listen to. So, yeah, it's nice to have these references that you can tie it back together. Téa would have been a nice little surprise cameo. I don't know. I just feel like there are people like we didn't need it. Tiffany Haddish could have been somebody that was a callback to one of the other characters from an earlier film instead of Tiffany Haddish. It's not like the next film is going to bring back Tiffany Haddish. You know what I'm saying? Like in Bad Boys 5, they're not going to be like, ooh, Tiffany Haddish is now really a part of this franchise. She's going to kick butt with us. No, that's not what that scene did not set up anything for that. It was just a funny scene. It was 2 guys who were already funny, vibing off the energy of somebody else. That interchangeably could have been any one of the funny ladies. That could have been Leslie Jones. It could have been like anybody in that role. It's funny. It's fine. This is the kind of stuff Will Smith needs in his life right now. He's still sort of rebuilding after the slap heard around the world. And I think this does it for him. I mean, this is exactly the kind of thing that he does well, and he excels. And the fact that they've given Martin Lawrence this dumb thing where he walks around thinking he's like Jesus the whole movie is so obnoxious. And he passes off this knowledge like he can see the future. He's like, you will be tested. It's like, oh God. I mean, there's a point where he's like trying to talk to an alligator and like he's an alligator whisperer. And I'm like, the fuck is wrong with him? What have you done to this character? Like, it was making me laugh, but not in a good way. It was making me laugh at the movie instead of with the movie. Like, I actually really enjoyed Bad Boys Ride or Die in terms of like the plot. I thought the villains were memorable. Sometimes this film has a really hard time making memorable villains. I actually didn't even with the backstory of the, oh, it's his kid, and oh, there was this woman. I thought all that was dumb in the third film. I was like, this is a really dumb way to introduce this into the storyline. Uh, I, you know, the first and second films don't really have memorable villains. This film is not really known. This franchise doesn't really have great villains. I felt like these were the closest that we had to having memorable villains, and it just gets bogged down by this weird thing that Martin Lawrence keeps doing, where he thinks he's like, I can't die, you know, I'm it's not my time. It's like he was told what his time was, and he knows it's not that. It's like almost like when you're gonna die, and you're like, well, I got 50 years left, you know. Uh, I'll survive all sorts of shit between now and then. Okay, feels like he was told that, yeah. So somebody came down and was like, "You will die at the age of 97," and he's like, "Oh shit, I'm good to go." Uh, so the joke dies super fast. It was funny when he did it at the hospital and he's like up on top of the roof, and you could say that he's still like maybe under some drugs or whatever, but no, he does it the whole movie, and it's so obnoxious, and it'll ruin it for you. So what could have been the best Bad Boys sequel ends up being because you have to sit through that the whole time. So I still think it's a decent film, and I noticed these are still making money at the box office, so we'll probably get a Bad Boys 5, and hopefully in Bad Boys 5 he'll chill the hell out, and let's just focus on getting a really great villain for these guys, like a really great villain for Bad Boys. Like they need somebody who actually cast a well-known actor to come in and be a villain, and just make it like the pinnacle of all bad boys that they have to fight. They tried to do it with Beverly Hills Cop, but Kevin Bacon was just so obviously the villain at the beginning. Like you walk into the film, you're like, oh, well, hello, sir. Obviously, you're the bad guy. So, um, yeah. So it's something akin to that, but done better would be nice for Bad Boys 5. Uh, this is fine. If you like the other Bad Boys movies, you probably like this. You might be annoyed by Martin Lawrence the whole film, but still find ways to like it. So, MVP Rhea Seehorn. I would love to see her back. I'd love to see her have more to do. She has such an intense energy to her. So I really wish she had been given her own spinoff from Better Call Saul. That would have been nice. Anyway, wrap it up. I will. Audio description was good. There's like the Michael Bay cameo. So yeah. I didn't really have, I mean, I don't have a lot of thoughts on it. It has a lot of action sequences, and someone shot who, someone shot, I was thinking about, there's a scene where the bad guys are having somebody shoot, and he's explaining, and sort of like the setup of the crime that didn't really happen, but as he's shooting the people, he's like, you shot him, and in a rage of passion, then he shot you, and then the guilt of everything caused you to shoot, and then he shoots this person in the head. But it doesn't say that. It's obviously like it's leading towards that, is that the last person alive would commit suicide, and he obviously shooting. But that was in the audio description, so I was like, I assume it's a cutaway if you're not going to say it. That was where, that's sort of like, if I had to bring up anything about audio description, it's like, if you're not going to say it in that sequence, but you're going to say everything else, but you're not going to tie it in and say blank is shot in the head, then I assume it was cut away. So we didn't see it. And we just heard like a gunshot, That's the interpretation that I give when you bother to tell me who the other people were that were shot. If you're trying to avoid like the last little bit of violence, then that's maybe not the way to go. So that was my interpretation. If they showed that person being shot in the head, then you know, failure of audio description. But for the most part, I thought this film was fine. But I did notice little things like that, where I was like, I just kind of assumed that that is you're trusting in the audio description. So that's it. I wish I could give this film a higher grade, but man, Martin Lawrence was annoying the shit out of me. So I'm gonna give. I really thought Will Smith did a great job in this, and like I said, Rhea Seehorn, excellent cast addition. So there's some stuff here that really worked for me, but I'm gonna give Bad Boys Ride or Die a B minus. Just the Martin Lawrence stuff just really grated on me after a while. It was so dumb. Like for the whole film, no, I don't need it for that long. He could have at some point had any sort of like, oh, never mind. Nope. We're gonna stick with this. We've given him this quirk, and he's gonna. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you guys on the other side.